What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Storm. I am the lead admin for the Too Fast Racing Discord and forums, and if you've seen any of my other videos, I have been doing tuning tutorials on drag cars to try to help teach new players and even some experienced players how to be more competitive in the drag racing scene and how to just simply make your car faster. So what we've been working on has been what I call Project Moonhawk. The Moonhawk is a pretty easy platform to build cars on. We've been on a no wheelie bar build. We've done suspension work, engine work, as you can tell here. We've gone over tires and transmissions. So our goal for today is try to get to 7s. Currently we're running an 8.5. So what we're going to do is I'm going to do a little bit of my tuning. I'm going to allow you guys to watch and we'll see how it goes. So the first thing I'm going to do is, because I think we can get there, I want to go ahead and put some more power in this car. We're going to go to a stage 3. Puts us up to 1300 horsepower. I think that should be enough. While I don't like this transmission, I'm going to continue to work with it. It's not great, but it is what it is. Because we're adding more power, I'm going to pull first gear down. We're going to go to like a 1.6 and we're going to try that. Everything with tuning on these cars is very much trial and error. You want to make little changes. You don't want to drastically throw a bunch of changes on it and not understand why the car won't work. So I ran out of gearing there in the top end, but we ran a 1.3, so a little bit of power does that. I'm going to go ahead and pull some gearing out of second and see if I can keep the power in it and see what we get. I typically try not to go any lower than the 9.9s on gearing. If you can keep your last gear on a 1-to-1 ratio, that's going to be your best bet for keeping the most power into the car. And there we go, there's an 8.2. That in itself is helping drastically. One thing I know you can do with these cars that didn't get mentioned in the last videos, what we can do potentially is go to a heavier frame. I really don't want to have to do that, because heavier frame requires more power, stuff like that. We got differentials. Let's go ahead and we'll do this. Let's go, I'm going to go one click up. I want to stay at least 1-to-1 here. We're going to go down one click and we're going to go down one click here. The biggest thing is just figuring out what works for the car and keeping that power down on the ground. We're back to 8.3s. But what we're seeing now is we are getting to where we want to go. Oh, I haven't done nitrous tuning. I should probably teach you guys that. But I'll tackle that in a separate video on a different vehicle, I think, at this point. What we're going to do is, because the car is behaving good, we're going to go up on power again. Nitrous tuning is a whole nother animal that is going to have to be its own separate video, because nitrous tuning can be a headache, and so can turbo tuning. The goal is, right now, we're just trying to get the car into the 7s. And I got way too much power out of the hole, so we're going to have to shorten up first gear. Potentially we're going to shorten both gears. Let's go and shorten our rear end here. And go to like a 3.3. Hopefully that keeps our power down. If we need to, we can go into a different go. but we need to keep the front end down. Keeping the front end down can be so crucial with these cars. And we almost have too much traction with these wheels. I'm not sure I'm a fan of these wheels. Two ways to keep traction down is either suspension, or potentially you can slip tire. Don't want to change that. I really don't. So we can do this. We can go and lengthen first gear, potentially keep the suspension down that way. And that helped the wheelie a little bit. Let's just at an 8.1. Okay. So there's the fun part. Once you start getting to the limits of what the car can hold, you have to start playing the fun game. And that's what can we do to get the car where it needs to go. We got the smallest tires, rear suspension, we're twisting. I really don't like it twisting, but we have to roll with it. I'm coming short in the top end. We've got about as much power out of this as we can. Potentially, we have to look at switching motors to get to the 7s, or the other option is I can go to a different transmission with more gears. So let's do this. The 2-speed built Power Glide, that is a modded transmission that you can find on the server. What that is it is on the forum, and that is on the Too Fast Racing forum is where you can download that. So this should keep everything the same, but what this does is this adds what we call an adjustable converter. This right here can make all the difference in the world. This converter, because of the way that it is going to automatically want to grab harder, as you can tell. So what we got to do is we got to adjust this converter to want to not grab as hard. And there's two ways we can do that. We can tighten this up, which technically makes the converter stiffer, but makes our launch RPM harder and lower. So what it's going to do when I put my trans brake on is it's going to cause us to leave with a little bit more power, but we're leaving at less. The converter is stiffer, but we're leaving at less power. And obviously that hurts our time, but that's where we get into the tuning aspect of we got to find the balance point. We want to leave harder, but we don't want this thing to be completely bogged down. So let's go to 3.2. And these converters can be touchy. It's really a matter of getting close to what you think and then just going up 1 click, 2 click at a time. That fixed our leaving the hole too hard. And that put us back to the 8.0. So potentially what I'm going to do is, because this transmission is short shifting, I'm going to switch this over to a manual valve body, and I'm going to manually run the gears on this car. And that should get us to the number that we're needing. Gets us close. Potentially, what we can do is, I think we're leaving on enough power. What we can do is we can take this inertia. What this does is it causes the engine to spin up slower, so if you really just need to fine tune it, you can go here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this down. Hopefully we can cause the car to leave just a little bit harder after the initial engagement. And as you heard there, we were running out of gear, but it did clean up our 60 foot. The one thing I'm going to do is we're going to go ahead and throw some nitrous on it. And no, we're not going to leave with nitrous out of the hole. The goal is to just put a little bit more power in the back end to get us where we want to go. So we're going to have to go to the adjustable shot size. Wow, English is hard. And what this does is this allows us to go do our gearing here. So we're going to go in second gear. We're going to want to add maybe a 250 shot, and we're going to want to go up in our power, in our RPM range. We're going to go like 3.6. And because we're running out of gear in the top end, we need to adjust our gearing. As you guys heard the car hitting the max of its limit. Because that's there. We're going to need to go in our rear gear ratio and come down a little bit. There's two ways you can enable a nitrous. You can click it, or you can find the keybind for it. And that took her power up like a couple 100 horsepower. We'll leave the hole, do our pass. Second gear is going to come into nitrous. And we ran out of gearing again. So we have got to go ahead and we'll shorten this gear ratio here. And we'll, I did this backwards, hang on. Differential, let's go ahead and go back to the 3.3 that we were at. We'll try this. Obviously we made that gear way too long because we had plenty of RPM left to go, so. But we're creeping on that edge of 7s. All this comes down is to a little bit of patience and a little bit of playing with gear ratios, a little bit of playing with how the car handles. Tuning can be a headache sometimes, especially when you're trying to creep on just getting to that one specific number. There you go, 9779, excuse me. And potentially, because this car is behaving so well, we can put a little bit more power in the top end. Let's go ahead and put, let's go up to 350 kilowatts of power. Okay, now we're at 1800 horsepower. We're kind of pushing the limits of this motor. That's a 7.8. And this right here is actually a pretty competitive car. You guys kind of had a basics to nitro tuning, I guess you can call it that in this video. And there we go. We got a 7.8 flat, 360 foot, and a 5297 eighth mile. So that gives you a good example of how quickly you can make a fast drag car. And you can continue to make it faster. All it is little tweaks here and there to get you where you want to go. So, until the next video guys, my name is Storm, and thank you all for watching.